Hey everybody, sorry I'm a few minutes late, just getting everything set up here. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I have been down for the count with bronchitis, so if my voice sounds a little hoarse, it's because I'm still recovering a little bit. Alright, well, we did partner with AppSumo this past weekend, and there were a lot of questions asked. So, for those of you tuning in who are not Molo9 users, today is going to be, we're going to do a lot of questions about Molo9 specifically at the beginning, and then we will branch off into more generic marketing questions that have been asked. We are going to go in this order. So, first is questions that were asked via Telegram, our Telegram channel. Then we have questions asked via the support chat on email. And then we have the questions asked in one other location. Where was it? Let me find it. We have 4 locations. Oh, in the comments here, because we are only streaming to YouTube today, I can see your comments and they can actually come up on the screen. And then we will go with questions that are asked on Quora. Alright, so first things first, let me open up Telegram. If you are a Molo9 user, you have access to our Telegram channel. And you can drop your questions in during this live Q&A at any time. I put my phone right here in front so I could see your questions come up. First, alright, so we're going to move on to questions that were asked in the email. The first question, let's see, actually there were a lot of questions asked via email. The first one is, let's go with the Molo9 deal we had on AppSumo in the spring versus the one we had on AppSumo just a couple of days ago. The one in the spring was when we had one tier. We only had one option. You could buy access to Molo9, and we had the agency tier, all access. That's what people purchased. It's equivalent to what is now what we call the agency tier. We added things like the project management portal. We refined the campaign planner. I added a workbooks and checklists section, and I also added in an outsourcing section. So let me just drop the links to each of those into comment section here so that if you are Molo9 user wondering where all this is, you can... okay, so first... Actually, I can go in order. So we have repositories and masterclasses are the first tab you'll see in your home page. Alright, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. So you have, if you go home, you have everything here. I'm about to add a few more links to this page. You go to Learn. You have our repositories, glossary, and masterclasses. We are adding a few more masterclasses in the coming months, so you'll see those added up here. Right now we have the default one, which is launch your startup and land paying customers in 21 days. I actually do this entire process in 4 to 5 days now, so I definitely believe that you can do it in 20. If I can do it in 4 to 5 days, and I created this process, I can do it in my sleep. You could definitely get it done in 21 days. I even include in there some outsourcing sections. Now, if you want to see the workbooks, they are a sub of, we have checklists here. And then we have workbooks over here. We're loading. These are a few of them. The ones that are like this, these are our oldest workbooks. The ones that look like this cover, that's our newest workbooks or workbooks which have most recently been updated. I try to update all of the content regularly so you're not looking at anything that is like 2 years old. I hate when you go through an entire checklist or whatnot and it's 2 years old and it no longer works. All right, and then here's the checklists. If that's the easiest way for you to consume content, we do have a lot of content that's displayed in multiple formats, just because I know certain people learn certain ways. Some people do better with a checklist, whereas others do better with seeing the recommendations here. Because this is streamed to YouTube Live, I'm not going to click see details and show what we hide behind these little goodies here. But this is where your campaign planner is. So the questions you answer in the beginning, the 6 questions, they populate this entire section. The answers you see here depend specifically on your business model. All 6 KPIs, all 6 factors have to be filled in order for it to work. If you leave one of these empty, you will not see anything under the campaign planner. You might wonder, like, well, why? Because my business model doesn't matter. And actually, your business model does, because the way that you will present information to your target market and the people you want to have buy from you is very different if your business model is subscription versus advertisement, affiliate, brokerage. Each one of those differs. If you want to see all of the recommendations that are available for your industry, business model, and brand score, you just say that your CAC is too high, your LTV is bad, and your goal completion rate is low. If you say that all of these are perfect, you will probably not see any recommendations, because you have told Molo9 software that your company is perfect and doesn't need help with improving anything. So you need to have at least one of these indicating that it needs improvement in order for Molo9 to determine what you need to do. Sorry, there's a fruit fly in here somehow. It's supposed to be too cold this time of year for fruit flies. All right, next we're in the campaign planner. If you are completely new to Molo9, so sorry, I forgot to give you guys the links. Okay, there's workbooks. There's checklists. And then, let's see. Oh, here's the campaign planner. Here is your recommended roadmap. I highly recommend the first time you're working. Oh no, I just realized I might have been on mute for a while. I'm sorry. I highly recommend the first time that you are working on this, you check out, you start with your recommended roadmap, which is under plan, my recommended roadmap. Next, you have the project planner. This is for people who have the agency to your brand. If you do not have the agency to your brand, you will not see this. If you are looking for a project or template that is currently not in our template library, you can fill in this form here. Keep in mind that we intentionally do not have 300 project templates in there, because that would take you forever to find the type of project you're looking for. We intentionally only put into the project portal projects that I personally have seen make either myself or other marketers that I'm friends with money. So if it is a project template and it's like a 5-step process that can be a checklist, we don't put it in the project portal. What's in the project portal is like intense projects that are anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple of months. An example of one project that's in there, I've noticed with SEO, clients of marketers, they either understand that SEO is important or they don't. And sometimes they're like, I want you to do this, and they don't understand that that's a result of you completing an SEO project. So one of the projects that I have in here is the SEO project, and under each task, I explain, not to you, it's for the customer to see, for your client to see, why that task is important and how it contributes to the overall success of the project, there are specific sections where we speak specifically about how SEO impacts revenue, because not everyone understands marketing, not everyone understands SEO, but if they're running a business, they understand revenue, they understand money coming in. So that's why the SEO project, you'll notice I have like an entire section in the SEO project where you are tying the value of your SEO project to you're tying the value of your SEO project to revenue, the revenue growth of the company. So they see the direct correlation and how the two fit together and why it is in their best financial interest to let you complete the project. And then there's it's an evergreen starter project. So if you go with the SEO project, it has you start out. This is laying the foundation. At the end of the project, the client will see the value and ask you to continue working with them and stay with them. Those are the types of projects that we keep in the project portal. If you want a project that's like that on that level, like for paid ads or for PR or something like that, request it. Just click this button to ask that we add it to the template library. If you're looking for something like how to set up a Facebook ads account, that's something that you can find on Google for free. We're not going to waste time and energy putting it in here, because then people have to scroll through something that they could find on Google for free. And that's not the goal of Molo9. The goal of Molo9's project management portal is to give you projects that are high impact projects. They help you to retain customers who give you fat paychecks, and everyone is happy. Okay. So, next. It's project planner, project portal. Outsource. So after I created the masterclass, some people had feedback that they would like to see the documents that I use to, or like the job descriptions that I share to outsource various tasks. So that's literally what you're finding here. If I'm outsourcing a web development project, I'm very clear on exactly what I want. I don't tell them build me a website, have it look like this. I tell them exactly which themes I want installed, which plugins I want installed. If it's using WordPress, I tell them exactly which platform the account has to be, or the website has to be built on. And I'm very, very detailed with exactly what I want from them, because there are 1,000 ways to build a website, and some of them can lead to horrible SEO, horrible search engine rankings, just because the website's built in such a clunky manner. They can lead to horrible conversion rates. And the thing that is also most frustrating is when somebody builds a website for me, and the marketers that I have working on that project with me cannot get in to make edits. So I have a very specific way that I ask for websites to be built, so that anyone on the marketing team who needs to change copy, who needs to create a new post, needs to update the landing page, is able to get into the website. They're able to make quick edits and get out. So that's what you have here. This is website development for a marketing website, not a software website. So you'll notice some companies, like Molo9, for example, we have part of our website is on WordPress. That makes it very easy for people on the team to hop in and get things switched around and get things situated. But then the software part isn't, it's connected to the WordPress site, but it is not a WordPress template, obviously. If it was, probably everyone would be selling this right now, instead of trying to buy my company. Okay, so next we have the copywriting, content guidelines. These are quick worksheets that I hand to a copywriter if I have to work with a copywriter on a project or a quick assignment, and I just say like, hey, this is what I need in terms of the content. Because if you say to a copywriter, hey, I need a blog post about how drinking water 5 times a day is really healthy for you, they can go 600 different directions with that. if you have a goal for that blog post, you need to clarify it for them. If your brand has a specific tone, you need to tell the copywriter what that tone is so that they make something that's cohesive with the rest of your branding. If you have if you're going to use the content as a blog post versus a guest blog post versus a post on social media or an ad, things like that, you need to specify all this for the copywriter. So that's what these quick checklists walk you through. The lead magnet is for email marketing. And then export. This function I actually won't pull up on my account either because I don't even have access to it except for from the back end. With this, you have the ability to export all of your. It's an add-on, and it's temporary because I'm trying to build by next year a report builder. So you have this for now that we will be removing access to shortly. It basically it allows you to export all of the recommendations for a specific type of business. Here we have social media stats. These are actually just from Pew Research, but not everyone knows about Pew Research, so that's why I have them embedded here because I think they're amazing. You definitely should check them out. And then we have inspiration pages and mood boards. Some people absolutely love these. These help me a lot. Like, for example, pricing pages, just looking at like what the different pricing pages are looking like now, designs, layouts, wording, things like that. I've dropped all of these into here for you to comb through. We have mood boards for brand archetypes. If you are a specific brand archetype, or if you're not sure which archetype you are, you can scroll through these and kind of see. This loads a little bit slowly when I'm streaming live, but you can always go to my Pinterest page to see these. All right, next. Here we have the exclusive deals for Molo9 members. All this fun stuff. If you want to have your deal added here, you just can click this button here or fill out the feedback form. Support, send feedback. This is where you can also tell us that you want to participate in a, you want to offer a deal to the Molo9 community. You have your account settings, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so there's your walkthrough of Molo9 in its current existence. Let me get my face back up here. All right. Next were questions asked in the chat. So if there are no questions in the comment section yet, then I'm going to jump to the questions on Quora because there were a lot of those. Okay, let's see. Let's see, question requests. Requests. Okay, I'm not going to answer all of these because there are 62 of them. Where are they? Okay. What is the coolest company slogan you know? I cannot remember that off the top of my head. I'm sure I have a list of them somewhere. What made tech stars leave their startup the morning after its grand exit? I understand that that's drafted as if it's a generic question, but I think the answer to that is very specific. It's a case-by-case answer. It's not something that's the same answer for everybody. Why do you think some media products are successful or unsuccessful when they go into another media sector? such as a film being turned into a game. I think one of the things here is it depends a lot on the marketing. You see a lot of people that make fun of marketing, or they try to downplay it, or they try to claim that it's not that important. Marketing at its core, at its most fundamental level, is simply telling people who may want to buy your product or service where and how they can buy your product or service. So you'll see something where there isn't product market fit because you're telling people who do not want to buy the product where and how to buy the product. Or you're telling people who do want to buy the product but can't because they're children, or they're in a country where it's not sold, or for various reasons, where and how they can buy the product, and then not understanding why they're not buying the product. So as much as at its most fundamental level, it sounds simple, telling people who want to buy what you are selling, how and where to buy it, the science behind actually carrying that out and implementing that can be quite complex. And when you see like a film that has a video game and they don't retarget the people who watched the film with ads, then and they're trying to go after a new market with this game, you're probably gonna see it flop. What are your favorite startups? Probably the ones I've worked with, obviously. I haven't really worked with any startups that I don't like as of yet. Molo9 is obviously one of my top favorite. What else? In general, it's any startups that have, I think, a positive impact on the people within that niche and that community. Do you think Facebook will grow with a new name? I honestly have no idea. Some of the most recent projects I've been pulled in on, I'm trying to decrease the amount of time I spend on consulting so I can increase the amount of time I spend on Molo9. But some of the consulting projects I've been working on as of the past few months, well, actually most of them have been about getting people off of Facebook and onto other platforms. Okay, that's another one about Facebook. What company advertisement blew your mind? Oh my gosh. The Super Bowl commercials. There was one there's this actor, he plays like Aquaman or something. He has the tattoos on his arms, and he I don't even remember what the commercial was for. I just remember being like so jarred by like what they did. They had him drive up to his house as the actor, as you always see him, and then when he got inside, he took off his hair, so he was like bald with only a few strings of hair, and then he unwrapped his arms, so he didn't have arm muscles. He had like very skinny arms, and he was talking about how like at home he can be himself, and he went from being the actor that you see in like on covers of magazines and whatnot to being this like very tiny bald person. He was just like, oh my gosh, that one was a little bit crazy. Do you think Mark Zuckerberg will ever step down from Facebook willingly? I have absolutely no idea. I'm not, I know like some people really follow like every piece of news that he's in. I don't. What exactly is a revenue sharing model? A really easy example of this would be an affiliate program. So one of the easiest ways, like when someone says that they want to partner with my company or partner with one of the companies that I'm working with, the easiest thing for us is to add them to our affiliate program. And see how that goes, because that's that's an automated partnership. And then if we notice that we're paying quite a bit in commissions to that partner, or that partner is paying quite a bit in commissions to us, then we take it to the next step and say, okay, how would we like to partner together further? Who's the LinkedIn founder? I'm pretty sure it's Reid Hoffman, but you can Google that. What CEO is the biggest PR nightmare? Oh, I don't know if you saw the meme. There was a post by BP, and it was trying to motivate people. It said to get started with something like uh, with helping the planet, you should start by making a public pledge so that your friends and family can hold you accountable. And someone responded to the I think it was on Twitter, and someone responded, "I pledge not to spill like billions of gallons of gasoline into the Gulf of Mexico." Um, I think I don't know, but I do feel bad for that CEO, because obviously he's not the like when you're the CEO of a company that big, you're not the one that's at a ground level. You're like 5 tiers above, and you have 15 people between you and that level of implementation. And you're trusting everyone below you to do their job and to take pride in their work. But I would say probably be like managing his PR would have been a nightmare. Um, because I don't know how many years it's been and people will still talk about it. Okay, which websites are now being used for completely different reasons than what their founders had intended? Oh, so many startups are that way. So many. One example is YouTube, the start of YouTube. It was originally like supposed to be this platform where you could privately send videos to your family, which now you can do with just any phone and photo app. But it all right. So it and then it obviously spiraled into what it is today, where you have people like me doing a live Ask Me Anything Q&A on the platform. Okay, next question is, I'm launching a fitness app that connects consumers with an online coach who then writes them a personalized diet exercise plan and provides accountability coaching. How would you go about marketing this without spending money? Probably one of the easiest ways would be to get started with podcasts. There's a website called sorry, what is it? RadioGuestList.com. I think the easiest, to caveat, this is like a very saturated market. It's great to go into if you were like Mark Cuban, or you had him investing in your startup. This would be a great niche to go into to make a lot of money as like the number 2, number 3, kind of like how you have Uber, Lyft, and then the other variants, spinoffs. This is a great place to go in as like another one if you have money to get started in this niche. But to start from scratch and have zero assets, like no following, no money to grow it, that'll be tough. You'd have to partner with something like AppSumo. Let me give you the link for. Supposedly, if I refer you, it'll be easier for you to get through. Let me see. Okay. So what you have to do, send an email to support team at Molo9 group to our support channel, and we will be able to, what I can do is refer you to AppSumo, and that would probably be the easiest way for you to get started, because you would realistically, with personalized diet exercise plan that provides accountability and coaching, if you're a developer and you've built this from the ground up and you don't have any tech costs whatsoever, and your only costs are acquiring customers. Actually, I know quite a few startups that are doing this. I would look at partnering with something like AppSumo, or I would also look at the launch masterclass that we have for Molo9, because that basically walks you through how I would take something like this. If it was an app that was finished, that was ready for users to come on board, that's exactly how I would grow it. I would go through that the launch masterclass. Okay, let's see. Which product market expansion grid strategy is Twitter using in order to keep up with competitors like Facebook? I don't know what expansion grid strategies are, so I don't feel that I'm qualified to answer that question. What is Mark Zuckerberg's next biggest project? Right. Okay. So Mark and I are both blonde-haired Jews, but that is the only thing we have in common. Other than us both being Jewish, American, and blonde, like, I don't really know anything about him. So I'm really not qualified to answer questions about him, what he's doing, what his future holds, any of that. Okay. Are there any social media platforms that never made it and that we never even heard of? Who created these platforms and why did they fail? If there are, obviously, if there are social media platforms that never made it, we've never heard of, I wouldn't know what they are either. Who created these platforms? I don't know. Why did they fail? Again, I don't know. What are some examples of products or services that succeeded by being wrongly used from the original intent? Oh, there's a lot of medications, a lot of a lot of drug developments in the U.S. where it was created to help with one thing, and instead it ended up helping with another. An example is Viagra. I think it was originally intended to help people with their eyesight or something like that, and we all know what it's used for now instead. Okay. Are new technologies and new strategies born in startups? Obviously, yes. What we did with Molo9, I've had quite a few different marketing technology people and marketing business owners who have approached me and asked how I built it, with an interest to build something similar. And I think that's sort of how a lot of startups get going, is somebody has a passion about creating a new type of solution or a new type of technology, and they buckle down, they figure out how to create it, they bring it to market. So yeah, I would say definite yes. A lot of new technologies and new strategies are born in startups. How can I find 100 growth hackers with a minimum of 3 years of experience? That's a very specific question. If it's for us, I would put out a job post. You can use gohire.io to you can use gohire.io to sorry, let me just see the term. You can use gohire.io to create job listings that are posted across like 20-something job boards, career platforms. I would use something like that. Is Silicon Valley losing its shine? I wouldn't say Silicon Valley is losing its shine. What I would say is that other places are starting to hold their own next to Silicon Valley. Kind of like if you think of somebody who sets the standard and then other people turning around and forever saying that standard can't be met and bashing it, and then finally they realize, oh wait, I can either bash this person who set this high standard, or I can raise the bar and I can meet that high standard and stand next to them. I think that's more of what you're seeing now. So For example, I'm in the Miami area, South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach area. And what we have quite a few tech initiatives coming out down here where they're training the youth in this area to be developers, because they're realizing that there's a lot of value in that. And once you train someone who's young and ambitious, once you teach them how to develop their own types of software, the solutions and the startups they can create are incredible. So I wouldn't say that Silicon Valley is losing its shine necessarily. I would say that other people are just raising their level of performance to meet the standard that was set by Silicon Valley. There are some people who are in Silicon Valley, like my stepmom, for example, used to live in Silicon Valley, I think like 15, 20 years ago. And she'll tell you that the way that Silicon Valley was when she lived there and the way it is now is completely different. The homeless problem is absolutely out of control. And there are lots of other ways in which it has changed. But I think that has more to do with urban development and life cycles of real estate development type things. Yeah, anyways, okay. What is the best way to use social media to rent a 50-seat venue for business events or presentations in Madrid? Okay, so you're looking to use social media to rent out your venue. Obviously, with paid ads, you can tailor it down pretty well. There's a book that walks you through the exact process of how to use Facebook to conduct market research before you run your paid ads on other platforms. And that, what is it called? It's 1 million followers, I think. Let me grab the link. It's 1 million followers by Brendan Kale. There you go. Brendan Kane. How I built a massive social media following in 30 days. And it walks you through, in the first few chapters, it walks you through how to use Facebook to conduct market research, just because there's so much data on everyone. And then from there, you can take what you found on Facebook and you can bring it to other channels to know exactly how to niche down your audience. And the reason that you use Facebook for your market research, not in December. December is a very expensive paid ads month for obvious reasons, especially in the US. But in other months of the year, you can use Facebook for your market research simply because it has cheaper, it should have cheaper costs of customer acquisition and costs per action than going to somewhere like LinkedIn, for example. Okay, next question. What order should a startup develop its various strategies in? For example, marketing, financial, customer acquisition, retention, etc. I think it's kind of a circle. You're doing sort of like a dance. So the marketing strategies that you use to acquire and retain people now are not the same ones that you're going to use 1 quarter from now, a year from now. Companies are like plants. They're either growing or they're dying. So you do have a dance between customer acquisition and customer retention where you do have to balance between the two. I think it's more like going back and forth between those. Okay, so obviously you start with building something that you think will keep users, and then you go out and try to acquire users, and then you look at your retention rates. So if people are leaving the platform or the service, or they're not buying again, if you're not retaining anyone, then you have to look at why. You have to come up with new retention ideas for improving retention, and then you go back and you can try to acquire more people. But if you are not retaining anyone and you are just focusing on acquisition, it is like trying to fill a pool by turning on the faucet and flooding the inside of your house. The water is not going to the right place. The water is not being held where you want it to. So you definitely want to have a balance between acquisition and retention, because if you're not retaining users, it's very expensive to keep acquiring more and more and more new users. Then you have to see like what's broken in your funnel, in your product, in your offer, in your service that is driving people away. Okay. I have a budget of €2,000 to promote the launch of my SaaS in a niche market. What would you do? I would really need to look at your company. That's kind of why Molo9 has the roadmap that we initially walk you through. Because taking a budget of €2,000 or $2,000 and spending it when you don't have some basic fundamentals set up on your marketing website and in other places throughout your business, you're going to just throw that money into the wind. You do need to have certain things set up so that when you use that money for, I'm guessing based on this question, that you're going to use it for paid ads. When you're using that money for paid ads, when you're using that money for paid ads, it actually is getting you traction. It's getting you conversions. It's getting you buyers. Oh yeah. Okay, I think this is the last question we're going to do. And then I'm going to hop off for today. Okay, why do I always feel like I'm too late for all of the startup trends? How can I be at the front of the trends executing them? You are too late for the startup trends if you're following trends that other people create. If you go to MD9, you'll see that one of the customer testimonials I had on there, it says that I am using growth hacks and marketing tactics months, like 3 to 6 months before you read about them in Forbes or in Medium or these other places where they claim that they're cutting edge. That is because I make up my own marketing tactics and strategies, and I swap these with a small group of other marketers. So we're all creating our own and swapping recommendations. So if you're looking at startup trends, if you're reading about them in a large publication, that's why you're always behind the 8 ball instead of in front of it. If you want to be the one who's creating them, I would recommend connecting with like the nerds of that ecosystem. In May, I really got into crypto, and now I'm friends with a few people who develop these different crypto projects. So I'm getting to know about like different things before they hit mainstream media, simply because I'm speaking with the people who are creating them. So if you're speaking directly with the creators, that's when you're ahead of the trend. If you're waiting until it's published in New York Times or Forbes to pay attention to whatever the trend is, yeah, you're always going to be chasing the cat instead of leading it. Which social media? Oh, okay. One last one. Which social media platforms is your business using, and why? / how do they work for you? We do not use Medium because we sell our content, and I found that I was not getting a lot of traction on Medium. Other people find that it's a great place to be. We do not use Twitter, again, because I did not see a lot of traction there. And it did require a lot of time and energy for me to get a little bit back. The platforms where Molo9 specifically is getting the most traction are YouTube and LinkedIn. On those two platforms, anytime I post on YouTube or LinkedIn, we see at least 3 more sales come in. And it could be something like this hour-long thing. It could be something like a 2-paragraph post. That is, I think, a combination of one, because I'm creating content that people in our target market like to consume, and 2, I'm posting at times and in ways that people within our target market, like when their eyeballs are on those platforms. We also have a Facebook page. It's not very, or a Facebook group and a Facebook page. Neither are very active. I have not invested a lot of time and energy into those, simply because at the time in Molo9's growth, in Molo9's life cycle, when I would have invested time and energy into those, there was all that bad press coming out about Facebook. So I figured it would be better to just invest in the other platforms where we already had traction and success. What else? We have an Instagram account, not active on there either. It's really just a page with a bunch of quotes to like motivate startup founders, and that's kind of it. All right, so that has been roughly an hour of answering questions. I will see you all back online next week. Until then, stay fabulous. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Bye.